Assalamu alaikum. Excellent. And peace be on all of you. I hope you're doing well. I hope your day was good. It's a beautiful hour that I usually look forward to connect with all of you. So welcome.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone. Today we're tackling a bit of a heavy topic, depression. So whether it's yourselves that are going through depression or have been through episodes of depression, or whether you're supporting a loved one or a family member or a friend going through depression, I hope you find this hour very helpful. For those of you who have attended several talks, I always start with setting intentions, because in the world of energy and in the way things work, everything starts with an intention, and whatever intention you put into a process is exactly what you will get out of this process. So I will start first. So my intention of this hour for you, for every single one of you, is whether it's yourself or someone that you love that is going through depression, I just hope that you're able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I know it sometimes can feel pitch black and completely dark and there's no way out, but there is. So my intention is that you all see that or enable your loved one to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And it will be great just to form the group intention. So for each one of you, just connect with yourself for 1 second. Just a minute, connect to your breathing. If you have all of these to-do lists and files and 100,000 thoughts running through your mind, just tell your mind, close all of these files. This time is for me. And as you do that, drop into your heart. And just set an intention for this hour. What is your intention out of this talk? What do you want to get out of it? And it'll be great once you have that. My intention is, if you can just type it in the chat box. So I will type my intention is. So there you go, my intention is there. And it would be great if you start writing your intention. So my name is Layla Saif. I'm the co-owner for Illuminations Abu Dhabi. But I also do hypnotherapy, regression work, energy work, Reiki. Super passionate about healing and improving. And my intention is wellness. My intention is peace of mind. I'm reading the intentions coming up. Beautiful, thank you. My intention is to think more in a positive way and not get caught in negative thinking. My intention is to pull myself out of this. It keeps pulling me back. Sending you light. We'll go deeper. This time we're not going to run away from it. We're going to try and understand it. My intention is to help those around me find holding me back. Find the light. Beautiful. My intention is to let go of negative energy holding me back. You see, the beauty of this is anytime we go through depression, negative thinking, obsessive thinking, I'll keep reading the intentions coming. My intention is to overcome overthinking. My intention is to keep allowing and accepting my past and then letting it go again. My intention is positive thinking. My intention is to heal others going through it in the best way possible. You see, when we go through negative thinking, obsessive thinking, or we go through that dark tunnel, it feels like we're alone in a very pitch black hole that is like 10 feet down the ground. And it really feels very lonely down there. But just by reading the intention, we're 23 and we're increasing, you're not alone. Many people are going through it. And many people have gone through it, and many people have come out from it, and they're not better than you. My intention is to heal others. My intention is to come out of grief and focus on my goals with focus. Beautiful intentions. Thank you so much for setting the theme for today's talk. So it really does feel very lonely. And for one thing, I would never give myself the right to speak about depression unless I suffered from it as well. Because unless you went through that phase, you really don't understand, you really don't know. And there are some few lucky people on the planet who have never felt depression or have never felt in a dark pitch. If you're one of those, you should be very thankful. But personally speaking, I have gone through depressed episodes. And I will share that openly because at the time when I was going through it, I thought there's no way out. And it felt very lonely, it felt very dark. And it's almost like, what's the point? What's the point of everything? Like nothing makes sense, nothing, there's no point of even talking to a friend, and you just completely lose interest in everything, the normal, simple things that bring you joy, like eating an ice cream or walking in the park, just absolutely gets covered and it makes no sense anymore. So I understand how it is, and I used to go through episodes of depression, maybe not for long periods of time, but I remember in one of them, I was completely depressed, and when I say depressed, I was like stuck on the couch. Stuck on the couch for 3 months, literally not talking with any soul, with any human being. I lost faith in humanity in that period. It was different things that are happening at the same time. And I was not in my country, I was living somewhere else. So I just literally locked the door in my apartment and got stuck there for like 3 months. I would think maybe the last time I went through something similar is like 7 years ago. So since then, after the world of healing, it's just doesn't exist anymore. So I hope you reach that stage, and I hope to deliver that message where you can actually see the light. And if I was able to do it, every single one of you can. I've seen people who've been, I remember I met someone who was depressed, very, very in a dark place for 7 years. 7 years. She hasn't gone out, she hasn't engaged with the world. And you'd think that's like a hopeless case, but when I see her now and she's all like flourishing and living her life, never lose hope. If you're alive and if you're in this session, it means a part of your soul is saying enough is enough. It means I suffered enough, I've had pain enough, and it's time for me to find a solution. And the moment we say that, what happens? The universe will immediately give us a solution. But sometimes we tend as human beings have a tolerance for pain, or we accept it as this is how life is, or just have to get on with the punches. Maybe we don't. Let's read some of the comments. I agree, not having tried going down, found that it's lonely, but I found help with people who are normal and knowing about psychosis and depression. I have been depressed since I was 11 and just now found help. I'm happy for you that you found help now. And it's amazing that the fact that we can actually open up, it's not easy to say I'm depressed. I mean, a lot of us, when we go through that phase, we are in denial ourselves. So the first step is not only asking for help, but really admitting to ourselves that we are depressed. Sometimes you think, nah, it's just a phase, or I'm just not interested. And to just have that honest conversation with ourselves that, yeah, actually I hate my life, or I'm not happy with how things are, I'm actually depressed, I don't have the energy. Sometimes you say, no, I'm just sick, or I'm bored, or we come up with a million excuses. So the first step is definitely one, admitting to ourselves, between me and myself, is that yes, I am depressed. And then the next step could be, okay, fine, I need help. And maybe previously it was a bit more difficult where we didn't have a lot of this online setup. Like, it's very difficult if there's a center like Illuminations, there's like Live Light and Happy and Buzzy, someone going through depression. Yeah, go drive in the car and drive all the way and go to the center, the Happy Center, and say, hello, I've got depression. That's very unlikely to happen. But now with everything that's going on, there's a huge setup that is happening online, where even if you're stuck on the couch or if you're stuck in bed, you could still just use the phone. And even if you don't want to show your name, you can anonymously just call in and have your online session. So we're hoping by having this online platform that we are able to really reach to you, even if you're in a dark pit, like we're trying to peek into that pit and say, hello, we're here, you're not alone, and then slowly get you to, not to heal you, but you will heal yourself. You just don't know how. And that's our job, to teach you how to heal yourself. So if we think of depression, I will put it, at least from my personal practice, I will put it in at least 2 categories. Let's start with the more severe type. Severe is when everything is dark. Literally everything you see is black, is dark. And usually, although it's not common that we talk about these things publicly, but I feel with the topic, it must be addressed. It usually comes with either suicidal thoughts or it comes with thoughts of self-harm. And if this is what you're going through, please, 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 urgently book for a session. 1 session, it will go. 1 session, and that severity will go. Maybe you'll be gloomy, you'll be sad, but that extreme, dark, suicidal, self-harm thoughts will go. A lot of these thoughts are coming from external sources, whether it's being, whether it's spirit, whatever it might be, you call it black magic, it's coming from a dark space. And it's usually a sound that you would hear in your ear. That would tell you, do this, what's the point? And in therapy, 100% of the time, with everyone I've worked with in that space, it's always eventually not to their voice. It's an external voice that is in their ear, telling them excessively, do this, hurt yourself, what's the point? So, and what we do in healing, what we do in therapy in these severe cases is we, instead of run away from the voice or try to block it, is okay, let's see who's talking here. And then we do the healing and then we extract that voice or that existence out of your space completely. So you no longer hear it, you're no longer affected by it, it no longer controls your life. So that's the severe case. So please, 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 if you know someone that is going through this, the moment you hear suicidal thoughts or any self-harm, please, because it's very difficult for someone to get over that on their own. You need a specialist for this, to just immediately extract that darkness out of your space. And usually with these clients, you find a complete transformation from 1 session. They're like, whoa, what just happened? You did magic. And it's not magic because that voice just wasn't their own voice. It was just an external influence, and you remove it, boom, problem gone. So that's one side. Now, a lot of us, when we're going through depression or negative thinking, we start to label ourselves like, I have a depressed personality, or I've been depressed since I was young. And we sort of identify with it or get labeled with it, or it just becomes a part of who we are. And we forget who we were in our essence. Has any one of you seen a depressed baby who's like 9 months old? Babies are never depressed. They're never anxious. They don't have negative thinking. They're pure. They're joyful. They're sad. They'll be sad in this moment. And then 5 minutes later, gone. They're happy. They're bubbly again. Well, guess what? All of you were babies one day. So you weren't born with that depression. And very severe, like very, maybe one of the cases that I've worked with, this person had something since she was born, but that's very, very rare. But even in such cases, it's also solvable. We just go back in time to the moment it hit, because everything has a start, everything has an end. And if we just sit and wait for the end, it seems like it's never coming. But if we do something about it, then the end comes. So my job here is to empower you, to let you know that you actually can heal yourself and you actually have the power to get yourself out of whatever it is that you're going through. So yeah, number one, remember the part of you before the depression started. When is the last time you were actually completely happy? And it could go back. So one of the people said, I was depressed since 11. So go back to when you were 9. Go back to when you were 9, just to remember. You probably forgot who you were. And that's what we're going to do in our meditation. We're going to really go back to the person we were before all of this started. Some of us, it started with one significant big trauma that happened, be it sexual abuse, be it a loss of a loved one or a parent, any sort of like sudden change or trauma that really broke us from the inside, and after that day, we're never the same. And in that case, we're not saying in healing, we're going to delete the memory. The memory, what happened, happened. We cannot do anything about it. And no one can actually say just accept it, because it's sometimes not acceptable. But what we do in healing is, you don't have to relive the trauma, by the way. You don't have to relive the trauma if it was really bad. But what we do is that we heal that part of us that got completely damaged or broken by reversing the damage, by collecting all the parts that we've lost. Maybe our parts got shattered. Maybe my heart, some people say I lost my heart. And yes, okay, the physical heart is still pumping in the body. But what do we mean by I lost my heart or my heart is broken? Is literally the energy of your heart literally got torn out or got smashed. So the words and terminologies that you use, even though it's not in the physical reality, but it actually happens energetically. So when we go back, not to relive the story, but to restore the damage that was done to us, collect the pieces that got broken here and there. If we got any anger, aggressiveness, anything from that situation, we return it back to the other person. And we try and look at it and see, well, everything happens for a reason. What is the wisdom? What am I supposed to learn from this? What strength did this give it to me? What can I do to ensure this doesn't happen to me again? So we basically get the lessons. So you will always remember what happened. It's not that you'll forget it, but when you remember it, no longer would it have the effect that it has on you today. You would not remember it and tear up or get traumatized, or it will stop having any immediate impact on you, whether it's emotionally or physically or whatever that impact is. So yeah, you'll remember it, but at least you'll be able to talk about it, feeling neutral. So we actually keep it in the past. When we don't heal it, what happens is that, yes, it happened in the past, but it's affecting you every single day today. It's affecting your relationships, it's affecting how you function, it's affecting your mood, it's affecting different areas of your life. And when we do healing, we just want that event or whatever that is to stay where it belongs in the past, having completely releasing you and liberating you from the impact of that event. And that's when there's like one sudden thing that triggered all of this. Now, a lot of you might not recall a particular thing that actually happened that triggered all of this. Maybe some of you will say, well, there's nothing in particular, but it's just a series of things that keep on happening. And it accumulates until you feel like life is hard. See, we make sometimes beliefs and conclusions to say life is difficult, or people are annoying, or whatever. We make beliefs about life, about who we are. I'm a loser. We make beliefs and based on the experiences that we've been through, correct? But then when we make that belief, what happens is that we tend to color the entire world with that brush. And then our reality follows that belief. So if I have a belief that says life is harsh, what would happen in my reality is I will keep attracting harsh situations again and again and again and again, until I heal myself and I change that belief and get a different understanding of what actually happened. I'll pause here for a second. I'll read some of the comments. And I really want this session to be different than other ones because I want it to be a little more engaging. And I want to make sure that I answer if one of you has a very strong thing that you need support or help in. I'm more than happy to answer that. This is someone that says, yes, admitting that I have depression, then accepting and getting help. I'm so much more happy now. My life makes sense now. Beautiful. Meditation and 5 admissions in hospital since December, but we're not allowed to be down. The world doesn't accept it. So there's platforms that help me. So thanks so much. So true. Nobody heard my screams for help those times I tried. I'm sorry you felt that. But you see, the moment we as souls or as people say, enough is enough. I've had enough pain. I'm done with this. Like, I'm done. The moment we say this, the universe will always give you a solution, either through a person, through a platform, through an article. A solution will find its way to you. But sometimes we accept it as a way of life, that life is depressing. And if we hold that belief that life is depressing, then guess what? Depressing situations will keep happening to us again and again and again, because that's the universal law. Everything in our reality is merely a reflection of our beliefs. And maybe I made a negative belief when I was 10, but that belief is playing out in my life every single day until today. And surprisingly, I wish I knew that when I was depressed, hence I'm doing such talks now. I wish someone told me that it was as simple as shifting a belief. And you can do that through a session, and we'll do a mini exercise today, hopefully, to cover that. My mother-in-law is going through depression on and off because of menopause. She's been suffering from this for the past 25 years, but it got worse with COVID. She sees everything dark, she can't sleep at night, and she has anxiety, and she spends half of her days sleeping. She's been experiencing severe pain in her stomach and back. She did all the checkups, but they can't find anything. Well, we noticed that she gets better when we take her out. I really want to help her, but she seems to be resistant to change. Now, as much as we always love to help people, I cannot help someone who doesn't seek help. So I can help all of you because why? You actually came in, so you seeked help. You were open. You're like, yes, I need help. I need something. So you went onto the seminar and I can help you. But if someone doesn't want help, it's very difficult to force it. One way that can energetically at least help the other person is when you view them, when you see them, when you think of them, always hold the image of them completely out of the depression. Hold the image in your mind of them being happy, of them being completely free, of them being completely healed. That energetically sends them the view that there is a way out. And the moment they ask for help, that's very doable. And a lot of the severe cases, especially if it comes with pains, A lot of it is external influences that can be resolved in one session. And then other work is done to really look into the different layers, the different situations. It's usually like, oh, for example, it started when I got divorced, and then this happened, and then I lost my money, and then it's a accumulation of things. And when we don't understand why they happened, or when we form a belief that is damaging for us, these events just keep happening again and again. So we all, if you look into my other talks about how do we understand the mind and how do we shift our subconscious beliefs, you'll understand that reality is indeed in our control, whether we like to believe it or not, but it actually is. Because the moment I worked on my beliefs about myself, about life, about people, my entire life completely shifted, and I haven't been depressed ever since. Now, in a lot of your comments, it's like, how do I get rid of negative thinking? How do I get rid of constant thought patterns? We tend to try and do this, like, I don't want to hear, and try to distract ourselves, which only makes the voices louder and more annoying. So at least my personal experience in healing, what I do with people I work with is, let's, instead of running away from the voice, as scary as it might seem, let me hear what the negative thought is. Let me see where it's coming from. Is it my voice, or is it my mother's voice? Or is it a voice I don't recognize? Is it trying to deliver a message that, for example, maybe it's telling me that everyone hates me. Well, okay, if everyone hates me, let me go with that. When did I come up with this? Oh, it started at 7 years old when I was in class, and this happened. And then I concluded that everyone hates me. And if that was my conclusion of something that happened to me, guess what would happen to my life? I would always attract people who make me feel hated again and again and again. So if we understand how to navigate the mind, how to, instead of running away from these voices, really understanding them, and as scary as it sounds, really going through that depression to completely break free. And when you do that, know for a fact, if you've literally not made it manageable or learned how to live with it, if you really went through it to understand it and heal it at its core, you will never ever, and I say this, I don't say this lightly, you will never ever face depression your entire life. You've done it. That's it. It's done. It's the hardest part. It feels like really, really like I don't want to go there, but that's the only way to break free. Not to relive it, but to really go with the thought and see where it's taking you and where it all started. But before doing that, just remembering who we were before all of this blackness. Because see, what depression does is it puts layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of lenses in front of my eyes. And anything I see is just black. And literally, at least from my experience, I remember when I started doing my own healing. And for me, it was very dark. It was very dark. So after the session, I remember I went out, and for me, it felt like I was seeing colors for the first time. It felt like it, like, yes, I do see colors, but it felt like I was seeing the world tainted in gray. Like I didn't pay attention to the colors of the flowers on the street, of what people are wearing. It's like, I was overwhelmed. I was like, whoa, is that how people live? So it really does create lenses in front of our eyes. So even if someone next to you is going through it, they're not seeing the world as you're seeing it. You're seeing hope, you're seeing the colors, you're seeing life, let's come for a walk. They would see you like naive and interfering, and there's like no hope, they don't understand me. So you're seeing completely different worlds. And what we do in healing is that we work with these lenses. We talk with each layer. We understand where did it come from, why, where did it start, and we heal it, reversing whatever damage that was done, removing all the anger, aggression, whatever it is that came upon you, and we take it from there. And the more lenses you take, it'll go less, 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 less. And once you remove it fully, that's when you'll never ever face depression again, no matter what. Even you might have incidences, like we're not saying we're immune to sadness. Like, okay, maybe someone I love one day will pass away. It's possible, right? It's a fact that we cannot deny. It's a part of life. But then my reaction to it will be, okay, fine, I will grieve. I'll grieve for a month. I'll grieve for 2 months, 3 months. But then I'll go through the normal stages of grief and I will come out of it. But when I grieve and it goes on for years and years and years, and it starts taking full control of my life, that's when we know that there's something not right. To come to spend time with her. She's getting a tiny bit better, but she's still suffering from constant pain and sleepless nights. For your mother-in-law, if she can do an online just consultation, it's free of charge. From wherever she's sitting, from wherever she is, if someone can make her do a Zoom meeting or a Zoom call, just to have a conversation, because if she is impacted by something dark, it could definitely be resolved even through online work. But if it is a series of things, then she might need more work. But the beauty of this is whatever you heal fully never comes back. So maybe the entire depression is caused by 7 different things. So, okay, you'll have to heal one at a time, but with each one that you heal, you'll feel better. And then you heal the second one, you feel slightly better until it's completely resolved. I think that sometimes we have to let go, mainly when we work on projects which do not mature in our prescribed deadline. In spite of all our efforts, we let go and let God and accept our weaknesses. Valid point, a very good perspective. But see, sometimes when we just let go, I mean, we have to let go, there's no other choice. But what's very important here is to learn the lesson. Everything happens for a reason. And if we don't understand the lesson, what happens? It repeats. And it will keep repeating until the lesson is understood. So if such, for example, a project happened, sometimes in reflection, that we understand what is the wisdom, what we could have done better, it will just help you have more peace. So it's not letting go with resentment or letting go with pain or letting go with hurt. It's really understanding the wisdom and what could have been done differently. So you literally just feel peace at it, you understand it, you digest it, and now you're sure that it will never happen to you again. Maybe something else will happen, yes, but the same situation will not happen again if it was fully understood, digested, healed, and acknowledged. Yes, in times like this, more people need support, even though nothing is seriously wrong and specific. You see, with Corona, what happened is we're blaming it on Corona. We sometimes like to blame things on external factors, but what Corona did is it just revealed to each one of us what's inside. If we have fear, it got magnified. If we have slight anxiety, it just became people who had some type of like feeling low or blue went into severe depression. So it really just paused the distraction that we keep ourselves busy with. And it gave us a very blunt and truthful mirror in front of our faces and goes like, boop, this is your life. This is you now. Are you happy with it? And a lot of people are not. And maybe a lot of us lied to ourselves that we were happy, that we were busy, that we were traveling, we're good. But when the distraction stops, it's moment of truth. And we have 2 choices here, actually. We can either say, I don't want to look at the mirror. I just don't want to look at it. I'll pretend it's not there and I'll keep distracting myself. And after everything goes back to normal, I'll go back to my old habits and I can repeat the same past 5 years and I just go on and repeat living the same phase again and again. Or I could be like, okay, I really don't like it. What can I do about it? Okay. So I do not agree that depression is a temporary episodic disorder. Many people, myself included, have suffering and up and down way over many years, sometimes your whole life. How do you deal with chronic depression if you're someone who maintains positive beliefs and makes a regular effort to live more positively? Good question. Now, one thing that I mentioned is it's called chronic depression, or at least my experience. Now, see, there might be different perspectives, but I'm telling you through my personal experience working with hundreds and thousands of people. When there's an issue that is not healed at the core, what tends to happen is that it keeps going. And it will keep going for 10 years, for 20 years, for 30 years, until eternity. And that's why it's chronic. When you're saying, I'm trying to be positive, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you're trying to consciously override the depression. And the depression usually comes from a belief in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is 9 times bigger than your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is the part of your mind that is analyzing, that is deciding, that is engaging with me in this conversation. And that's the part that says, I'm going to be positive, I'm going to do this. You trying to come up with tools to make the depression more manageable. But the subconscious mind is where your subconscious beliefs are. And whether it was caused by an external factor that has been with you from that time up until today, no matter how many tools you positively come up with, it will be a temporary solution and then it hits again. Why? Because your subconscious is 6,000 times more powerful than your conscious. So what you're trying to do with these tools, not that they're not helpful, they help you manage and they help you survive and they help you do certain things in your life. But the effort you're putting, it's like you're trying to swim against the current, and the current is very strong. So no matter how much it gets better, it still hits, and then it gets better, and then it still hits. What I'm saying is that if it was really going all down to the core of when it all started, because guess what? You were not born depressed. You were a happy individual. Even though you say you suffer from chronic depression, and that has been your reality until today, you were not born with chronic depression. So you, in essence, is not depressed. Things happened, depression stuck, it started, and then it got stuck and dragged. So we take you back to the first instant before all of this, just to remember, who were you when all of this started? And what happened? There must be something. It cannot happen just like this with no trigger. It cannot, impossible. Whether it's an event that you remember, and possibly when I'm talking, something pops up in your mind and you understand, oh, actually, maybe it started when that happened. And if there's no specific event that could have triggered it, then it's 100% a dark energy. And if that is healed, and I will not say a statement that I don't strongly believe in, and it's accurate 100% of the time. Me working with people who are suffering from chronic depression for years and years. If it's healed at the core, whether it's external or whether it's an accumulation of events and these parts of you are restored, I'm telling you, there is a way out. And once you're in the light, that darkness will be behind you. And that's it. You would have won the battle. Maybe we would not be able to do the full thing in this conversation. We will do a little meditation to at least enable you to understand whether it's an energy or whether it's a series of events. So at least you get an awareness of what actually caused it. And then please, whether you work with me, with another center, with a book, or whatever you are, at least you know what is the core reason. Please take it seriously and do something about it, because life can be pretty. And I remember when I was depressed, I didn't see hope. I thought this is it. And this is who I am. If at that time someone would have showed me a mirror of my future self, I wouldn't have believed it. I would have thought, that's not true. So, and again, if I haven't been in depression myself, and I haven't been with people who are depressed for most of their lives, I wouldn't have given myself the right to speak about the topic. But the key is, the most important part is saying enough is enough, that I deserve better than this. And if that's what you feel, then a solution is there for you. Okay. Does meditation help go beyond the darkness? Sometimes it does not. Sometimes it's not, because the darkness wants to be dealt with, and the darkness will not allow you to work on anything else. And sometimes this darkness is a stuck energy that actually needs help. So that's why, even if the reason is coming from a dark energy or whatever that might be, the dark energy is not the enemy. The dark energy is an energy that is in severe pain and needs healing itself. So when we heal it and when we extract it, we set it in peace, and then you find peace yourself. So we liberate both energies, yourself and whatever it is that is stuck in your system. Good. So I think we answered most of the questions. Okay, so if you are, good. So try and for those of you, if anyone is driving, please don't close your eyes. Other than that, if you're sitting at home, just make sure that you're sitting comfortably. Our intention for this meditation is to, 1, remember who we were before we were given the term chronic depression, or I'm depressed, or anxiety, or whatever that is. Just really remembering who you are in your essence before all of this, because we tend to forget. And we'll stay with that for a while, just to give you a different perspective about who you are. And then we will look and see if there is an external dark energy, and if there is, we will acknowledge it. We will tell it to cool off maybe, or loosen its grip on you until further notice, or until you resolve it. The responsibility of your healing lies with you and no one else. And my job is to show you how to understand the situation. But eventually you are the healer. And even though you might feel that you're weak, you don't have the strength to do that, it's somewhere there, it's hidden. Maybe in a very dark pit, but it's hidden. It's somewhere there. Okay, so sit comfortably. And you can slowly start by taking a deep breath 3 times. Breathe in some positive energy through your nose and through your mouth. Just exhale any darkness, any stress, any tension, any disbelief, any helplessness or hopelessness. Just let it go. If there was no hope, you wouldn't have been here, but you are here. So the solution is near. Some of you might be more visual than others, so it's okay. Either you would, in this meditation, you will be able to see, or you might not be able to see anything, but just feel. And both are okay, there's no right or wrong. So just take yourself to a very beautiful landscape. It could be an open garden, it could be a beach, whatever landscape that for you feels free, feels liberating. And just observe, how is the weather? Is the sun out? Is there any light? Or is it nighttime? Just observe the surroundings. And in that space, you will find a spot where you feel comfortable, where you can sit, lay down, whether it's under a tree or on a rock or whatever that is. Just find a spot that is comfortable for you. And chill, just chill. Enjoy the surroundings. And as you are in this space, invite the part of you at whatever age where the word depression was still not in your mind. Before all of this started, the happiest version of you, long back before the words anxiety, depression, darkness ever started. Go all the way back. It could be a baby, it could be 5 months, 5 years old, 10 years old, whatever that is. Just invite that part of you that was still happy. Simple joy. And just connect with that part of you. Remember who you were. How was your character? Were you outgoing? Were you smiling? Were you laughing a lot? How did you behave? And at that age, what were your beliefs about life, about yourself? You might think of it as naive now, but no judgment. Just connect with that pure part of you. Just remember how it felt. And just allow that part of you to sit next to you throughout this exercise, just as support, just a reminder. Of who you are without the depression, without the darkness, without the anxiety. And from where you are, if there is any dark presence in your system, I ask it now to come and show itself to you. Sometimes it comes in the shape of a silhouette. Sometimes it's just a dark blob. Sometimes it's a group of dark blobs. So just see what comes and ask it, how long have you been with me? And in what ways have you been affecting my life? And just say the following in your mind. I see you now and I acknowledge you. And I'm in a process of healing myself, and part of that is also healing you. But for now, can you please loosen your grip on me until I come back to you? And you can now ask them to go back or to leave this space. You can take a deep breath. So now you know that this is something that you need to sort out in your own time whenever you feel ready. And for those of you that have gotten depressed from certain incidences, just allow all the different layers, all the different stories to start coming and showing themselves to you. Keep note, how many layers do you have that are contributing to your depression? Is it 4? Is it 5? Is it 1 incident? Note them down. And get an awareness of how these situations has affected your life or is still affecting your life today. And from these situations and these stories that have contributed to where you are today, what beliefs did you form about life, about yourself, about people? Note, this is your subconscious belief. Keep a mental note. And get a clear impression of how those beliefs that you came up with, or the conclusions, have been running again and again and again in your life, playing out in different areas of your life, whether it's your health, your relationships, your work, family. Get a clear impression of how those beliefs are playing out in your life. We will now do a generic healing that will make you feel slightly better, but will not completely remove the depression because those layers will need deeper work. But at least for now, we will do what we can do to make it a little bit less. So there's going to be a beautiful white light opening up from the skies. It's a loving light, it's a divine light. It's a shaft, a big shaft of light. And just allow that shaft of light to start slowly rotating anti-clockwise, releasing and getting out from your body whatever toxicities, whatever extra darkness, whatever stories, beliefs, or energy that is okay for it to be released, that your body is ready to let go. So just allow that release to happen. Just let it go. Let it go and be aware. What is it sucking out of you? Is it certain emotions? Is it certain beliefs? Is it some of the stories that are just closing? Just be aware. What is it really doing? And slowly, the shaft of light will start rotating to the right, clockwise, and start giving you back some of the pieces that you've lost along the way. Some parts of you that you've forgotten about. Or maybe some hope or some beliefs that are more in support of you, to give you the strength to go over this darkness and to fully resolve it once and for all. So just allow those energies and beliefs to come into your consciousness and into your being. Just integrate it and allow it to come. So as the shaft of light closes, just look and observe at the layers that were there. Are there some of them that got closed? Some of them looking a little bit better? Whatever remains, whatever layers remain, or if there are any dark energies, just say, I acknowledge you now. I understand where this is coming from. And when I'm ready, I will deal with every one of you. I will heal this. And I will find the strength to come out of this once and for all. And now you can thank them and ask them to leave, keeping with you that part of you, the younger part of you, the happier part of you before the depression. So that part of you, just ask it to stay with you for now, for this period when you heal yourself. So just ask it if it's okay to keep it in a ball of energy or a ball of light, and that it remains in your space to connect with you, to remind you, to support you through this journey. And when you're ready, at your own pace, you can come back to this moment, to this time, to your body, and you can open your eyes. Any comments, any questions, any observations? I want to leave you with a note that no matter how hard it seems, you're alive today and there's a way out. And no matter how lonely it seems, you're not alone. There are many people going through it. Some have passed it, some are still in. There's a way out. Thank you all. It's been an absolute pleasure connecting with all of you. I thank you for your openness, for your courage, for your wanting to learn, for this thing that is driving you. I wish you blessings and light in your journey. Thank you so much and have a beautiful evening. Blessings and so much love. Ma salama.